press policy.
There were a couple questions submitted on the press policy. The ones that deal with HR or business, I'll have Kristen touch on. And then there were, I believe, one other question on content or graduation requirement of the FAFSA forms. But the board advisor, the superintendent's advisory council met in December. This was for a first read in December, and our changes are included in this packet. In 1 second, I can pull up the questions submitted. Kristen, do you have a list of those questions for your policies, or do you need me to go identify those?
I do.
Okay, you want to go ahead and address the ones in, the first one was 230, 230?
220.
220.
So just for some background knowledge, we every new employee signs an acknowledgement of mandated reporter status, and then they complete a training session in GCN, which is what we use for our mandated reporting. And then additionally, board policy 5:90, abused and neglected child reporting, spells out the reporting requirements and administrative procedures, and staff receive an annual reminder of all board policies for which they need to be in compliance, and this policy is on the list. And then when it is suspected that that policy is not followed, the administration completes an investigation, as they do when any staff member concern is brought to their attention, and we consult with legal counsel throughout that process.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. Just because this was highlighted as a board member responsibility, I thought it was important to hear how that information was conveyed and pursued, so thank you.
430 was authorized investments. Deanna submitted this question, or Ms. Salas submitted this question, excuse me, and Mary Ann and I corrected. We took out we deleted the title about the superintendent and just changed it to township treasurer.
Okay, thank you.
460 was regarding revenue generating contract reporting. Kristen, you just want to touch on how you're doing, keeping this in compliance?
That's a requirement on the state budget form that we submit, which can be found on ISB current budget forms and past budget forms. So we complete that.
And that's on our website, correct?
I'm not certain if the state budget form is on our website,
okay,
but it's on ISB's website.
Is it part of the annual budget submission then?
Yes.
Okay.
Equitable Restrooms Act, we already made some accommodations to restrooms in the past, gender neutral bathrooms, as well as making some changing stations and some modifications to our locker rooms.
I mean, because clearly a number of these are state laws that went into effect 1/1, right? So I just wanted to, I'm assuming that the administration is moving forward but from that unfunded mandate position as well as the administrative requirements. I want to make sure that we're moving ahead. So is there any additional activity that needs to be done for the Equitable Restrooms Act?
I don't think we have any other outstanding items,
So we're in compliance?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. 480 was the adoption of the capitalization threshold.
Our administrative procedure was our capitalization threshold in the past has been $1,000. So we would keep that from an administrative procedure, and then from a budget standpoint, we can drop it into a different line item, but we'll keep that threshold for how we build our budget in terms of meeting with the department chairs and other departments to get approval for items that might be over $1,000.
Okay.
Graduation requirement FAFSA was 6:30, and Beth is going to pilot, Beth Augustine and her department is going to pilot something this May, even though this is not a requirement until next year. They're going to pilot something this May with the graduating class. We do a senior survey and a final senior meeting before graduation, so they're going to pull the data on how many of those students completed the FAFSA form. We also do multiple workshops on college finance and completing the FAFSA form, and so we'll continue with those trends next year, and then we're going to do something in the fall where we will have students either sign the waiver that they're not completing it or have the parents complete it.
Can we get an update on how the pilot goes in the spring, just to understand what the lift is relative to the pilot to
yes.
the implementation of things?
530 salary history. Right now we moved that question off of our application. We used to have it on the application, but the way we are recommending the policy is that that additional sentence the IASB provided that unless the employee's salary is part of a public document that's available to the public, so we'll just have to change the verbiage in our document.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't see it in the draft in the board packet, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't a drafting error. And
Right, so
coming into the
we did
final.
check yes on that question.
And then it
we will
gets
add the
incorporated
language.
by, okay, I wasn't sure how the document flowed together ultimately.
And then 660 was your final question on LGBTQ content, and I need to touch base with Kylie to see how we will be moving forward with addressing that during our American history curriculum.
Okay, so it is during the American history curriculum, was
Right.
my assumption with everything else. Okay, thank you.
There were no other questions submitted on the policy.
Any other
That was probably
discussion?
enough.
Bill, Laura? No. All right, well, I guess we'll go for the motion, right?
Sorry, yes.
If there's policy, Mary Ann, and some of them deal with money, would it be safer to do a vote?
We could.
Just to be,
Cover it all.
yeah.
Right,
Okay.
Board of Education, Township High School, District 208, Cook County, Illinois, hereby approves IASB plus policy issue 102 as presented in the January 14th, 2020 board agenda packet.
Second.
Second.
Ms. Towner? And we'll vote.
Ms. Sierra?
Yes.
Ms. Turner?
Yes.
Salas?
Yes.
Mr. Durkin?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.